Hello and welcome to part 2, week 2 of the online marketing course from needmoreclicks.com. This is where we left it last time. We just got to the slide about the lion and the two internet marketeers, which is a completely made up story, but it does highlight an excellent point. One thing that's been pointed out to me after my video last week is that I started off by saying it's going to be about 5 minutes, and now we're still talking at 14. So today is going to be more like 5 minutes, and we're going to talk about keywords and how you decide which keywords you're going to target. It's really funny when you run your own business, you call things a certain term and you just expect that everybody else does the same thing. Well, of course that's not true, and the worst thing we can do is actually guess. So the story goes that two internet marketeers were walking through the jungle, and as they reached a clearing, they were greeted by the sight of a ferocious lion. And on seeing the lion, one of the guys he's got his rucksack off. He got down on his knees and he started to change into his trainers. And the other guy said, "Well, I don't know why you're bothering to do that, because you'll never be able to outrun the lion." And he said, "Well, I don't have to outrun the lion. I just need to outrun you." And that's what we're trying to do with online marketing all the time. We're trying to find those keywords and those phrases that are going to give us that advantage over the opposition, over the competition out there, that they may, we hope, not have found. The other analogy that I really like is this one here, is looking at, when we look at keywords, it's very easy to do a search and to do some analysis and find keywords that get lots and lots of searches. And naturally they're the ones that we think, well, that's the one I'll target, that's the one I'll aim for, because it gets the most traffic. But what you'll find, and you know, this should be sort of common sense really, that the internet gets more and more competitive all the time. So if you target those really competitive phrases, you know, you're going to have quite a battle. Certainly get on page one, and certainly to start working your way up page one as well. So the other piece of advice I would give is to pick battles you know that you can win. Okay, pick a fight you know you can win. It's too tempting just to go for those really big keywords. Okay, when we work with clients, we do some analysis, like we're going to show you how you do it now. We will discount the first tier, so the really popular phrases. We'll discount a lot of the lower tier, so the ones that aren't very competitive but also don't get many searches, and we just look at that middle tier and we try and find the niches within that middle tier that are going to get us the right sort of search terms, which have the right balance between searches and competition. So having gone through that, the next question tends to be, well, that's fine, we understand we're looking for a balance. How, you know, what do we use? The first thing I'd say to use is the Google keyword tool. It's the free tool. If you've never used it before, when we run these seminars, I always ask that question, and it's amazing how many people put up their hands and say, no, we've never used it. It's out there, it's free. Just go to Google and Google free keyword tool, and you'll find it. And we're actually going to go to a screenshot of that now, just to show you what it looks like, so we know there's no sort of surprises out there. Ignore that. That was me just sorting out my microphone for this seminar. So here you go. This is what it looks like. If you've got a Google AdWords account, log in. Sorry, just a general Google account will do, and what you'll find is that once you've logged in, you'll get a lot more information. But if you've not used this tool before and you run your own business, you will find it something that you go back to time and time again. Just to talk you through the screen here, what we've got is a word or phrase. So this is where we put what we're interested in. So the example I've gone with here is just golf clubs. We're in the UK, and we're looking at, obviously language is English, and we're looking at desktops and laptops for this search. And what we find is that Google will give us, and it will bring it back, and it'll say, right, okay, what you know, what's the data for that exact phrase that we've put in there. So we've got here that phrase and this data. This is the local monthly searches. Okay, so this is UK. Global is obviously worldwide. Okay, you can fully customize these columns, so if we don't want the global, we just apply that and it takes it away for us. Okay, one interesting point to note actually is that if you do log in, you'll also get trend data here, so you'll see how that keyword performs over a period of 12 months. So this is very interesting and very powerful for a number of different reasons. Firstly, it looks at the exact phrase that we're interested in. It also gives us, in this case, 100. If you log in, I think you'll get up to 1,000. Lots and lots of alternatives, okay, that are all related to golf clubs. You'll find that they will contain that phrase. They will also not necessarily contain it. But obviously what Google's doing here is bringing back something that is very, very related to what we're interested in primarily. So we'll look at an example of this in a second, and in terms of how we can use that when we're putting content together for a website. So this will give us other ideas. Okay. We also get a competition level as well, and all these columns are fully searchable. So I can click on here and I can get it ranked in sort of from high to low. If I'm looking at keyword analysis, I will probably do it the other way around to start with, and I'll start with everything that's low competition, and I'll start to look at what's got a reasonable number of searches. So remember that balance we're looking for: low competition, reasonable number of searches. Okay. Now what you will find in things like this, and this is a great example, so golf bidders there, it's relatively low competition and there's loads of searches for it. So if we weren't thinking straight, we'd probably think, well, that's a good one to focus for. But obviously golf bidder, for those of you who don't know, is a very well known brand of a golf auction site. So there'd be no point in us really trying to bid for that, because golf bidder's going to own most of the top 10 anyway. So what we're looking for is not brand names necessarily, and it's certainly not website or other business names. This is where we're looking for general terms and phrases that describe what we do. Okay, so we've got local monthly searches here, and we've got competition. You can also download this data as well. Okay, so you can take this option here and you can download all the search results, and you can download it into Excel. You can play around with it. If we just skip back to the presentation for a second, one thing that would say to do is any ideas that you have is to make a note of them, is to write them down, is to put them in an Excel spreadsheet. You'll get ideas all the time. You'll get them from lots of different places. Put them in a spreadsheet and then go away and do that analysis. Okay, and if you like, you can then download the analysis into another spreadsheet or another tab, and you can look at the phrases that you've thought about, and you can look at the actual data behind them and see whether it's then worth taking to the next level of sort of competition analysis. So very quickly, that was a Google keyword tool. Other things you can use are things like Google Suggest. So when you type into Google and you get that drop down, there may be terms that fall into that drop down that you've not necessarily thought of. So again, just look at those. There are lots of third-party tools out there. Something on Market Samurai we don't use as much now. Things like Word Tracker, lots of third-party software. This is one of the best things to do. Is to ask your customers, your suppliers, your staff, family, friends. Ask somebody who's not anything to do with the business, who's totally unrelated to the business, and just say to them, look, if you went to Google and you search for what we do, what would you type? Okay, because as business owners, as I said earlier, we're also blinkered. We all think that people call it exactly the same thing we do, and that's just not true. We all search the internet in different ways, and we're all looking for slightly different things. Okay, and the rules around this are very much like the same rules that we have for brainstorming. Don't discount anything. Okay, because until you've done the analysis, you don't know what the data is behind that. Okay, so we've certainly worked with clients, and somebody suggested an idea, and somebody around the table has said, no, people would never search for that. Okay, but when we've gone away and done the analysis, it's very clear that people do search for that. Okay, so again, never discount anything. Go away and do the analysis. And one thing you'll probably find is that the keywords that you start to see and the patterns that you start to see, you can group them quite nicely into themes and categories. And if you're doing this analysis before you have a website, which is in fact probably the best time to do it, it will allow you to get ideas for how your content should be grouped, how your pages should be grouped. In some cases, you'll get ideas for page names themselves from that analysis. And if you think about it, that's very, very powerful. That you're basing your website structure and the way your website is, the navigation is developed, you're basing that on the way people search the internet. Okay, which is incredibly powerful. So there's some of the ways that we do keyword analysis. Another one of the tools that we use, we'll come back to that slide in a second, it's called Google Insights. And again, when we do seminars, I ask people, who's used this, who's heard of it, and very, very rarely do we get anybody that knows about this. So if you just go to Google and type in the term Google Insights or Google Trends, I think it's actually called now, you get greeted with an interface that allows you to put in search terms. So here we were looking at oak furniture and pine furniture for a client. And the reason this tool is so powerful is because, as you'll see here, the keyword tool gave us a figure in a certain point in time. What this tool does is give us that trend over time. Okay, so in this case, the client always spent more money on pine furniture, and we were able to say, well, if you look at this point here, this is where oak furniture starts to become a lot more popular. Okay, so you actually have real data to go back and put in front of marketing people or MDs and people like that and say, look, this is why we need to be spending more money on this part of what we do. Okay, because people are actually searching for it. So this is a fantastic tool. Okay, not a lot of people know about it or seem to use it, but this is Google data. If you think about it, it's incredibly powerful to base your keyword strategy using the keyword tool, and then looking at this from a trend point of view. Just going to hop back a couple of slides. So this was a screenshot that we took for the last seminar we did, and in this case we were looking at ski boots. So exactly as we've described before, the data for that phrase itself, and then lots and lots of ideas. In this case, I went and downloaded the Excel spreadsheet version, and you get something like this. And we use this a couple of different ways. One is, if I'm a shop and I'm going to sell ski stuff and ski gear, I want to know how people search for it. I want to know what brands are popular. One of the things that we're working on now with clients is that Google is looking at content, looking at the right sort of content. It's looking at that content being promoted the right sort of way. Very often it can be difficult, certainly if you're running a business and you've got lots and lots of things to focus on, to sort of think, well, what content am I going to put together? What content is my audience going to be interested in? Use this tool, because what I've highlighted here is that down here, ski boot size chart and ski boots review both get, not a huge amount of searches, but they have an amount of people that search for those on a monthly basis, and certainly the competition's not that high. And if you look at those two phrases, they are phrases that indicate that people are looking for help. Okay, they're looking for help to buy. When it comes to looking at sizes of things, I can completely understand why. If I've never bought ski boots before, I need some help in understanding how the big clumpy ski boot is measured versus a normal shoe, for example. We've just been through the same thing with wetsuits for kids. It's a totally different way of measuring them. We don't know. All the different measurements you need to be aware of. So if you can provide data, if you can provide content, should I say, like this, so you maybe have a blog on your website, which is a great thing to do these days. If you can put a blog on there and you write a post about ski boots and how they're sized, or ski boots and a write review, you will have a whole page. That post will be a whole page, certainly on anything like WordPress and stuff like that, as a blogging platform, where that whole page is optimized for that phrase, and there's no need just to produce one piece of content. Could you do a video? Could you then write a blog that's based on that video? Could you do a 7-step guide, which we'll talk about later in the course, a guide that people can download? If you can do that, if you can put a one-pager together, if you brand it up, make it easy for people to use, to download, you're really adding value to what that searcher is trying to do and what it's trying to find from the internet. Okay, so, and don't forget, this is like page one of probably, I don't know, 80 pages of data that you'll get from the keyword tool. So don't just use it to find out data in terms of what should I decide to target. Use it to give you ideas for content. Okay, and also these phrases here should also include those in your on-page content as well. So if you're sitting there thinking, what on earth am I going to blog about? Okay, there's a tool out there that is based on the way people search. It's free. It will give you loads and loads of good ideas. Okay, and when we come back, week 3, we're going to look at, okay, once we've decided what phrases we're going to use, what do we do with them on our website? Okay, so this is normally the point in the seminar. People's hands are going up saying, "That's great, I've got it. I've got how to work out, what keywords I want to target. I understand how important it is. Now I've got them, what do I do with them? Okay, and that's what we'll cover next week. So that was Andy Roberts at needmoreclicks.com. That was looking at keyword analysis and how we do that, how we get an idea of what people are searching for, and next time it will be what we do with it. Okay, hope you've enjoyed that. Any comments, any feedback, anything you want to know, anything I have not explained properly, email me at info@needmoreclicks.com. Thank you.